the tiles are showing up.
Okay, we're good. We're ready to go.
Okay.
All righty.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and start. This is our first one, so you guys better buckle up. So we're going to do the best we can. We might have a little technical difficulties, but that's okay. We're learning. We want to welcome everybody. This is the EmPower Hour by Facing Brooks, and this is brought to you by the EmPower Plant by Facing Brooks. So welcome. This is a group of people. It was kind of an idea. I wanted to get a group. We called it the women's group for a long time, and then we realized we didn't want to be so limiting. We want to encourage anybody who identifies with or feels the struggles that a lot of women feel, and they are empowered and they want to empower other women and men to think about things a little differently, and maybe we could all get on the same page and support each other. So this is just a forum for encouragement. First of all, I'm Dana Brooks. I'm a partner and shareholder here at Facing Brooks, and I'm joined on our panel today. You're going to have input from my female law partners. I've got 3 of them. That's unheard of in a law firm and today in private practice. So I'm very proud of that. I think we have something like 55% female law partners, and we have 75% female shareholders. So how about that? So I first want to introduce Kimmy Hogan. So I would like to go, I'm going to tell you who they are real quick, and then they're going to come around and introduce themselves, and we're all going to talk about what we want to get out of this group. So let's do that first. So I'm Dana Brooks. I'm very turned on about women and girls and protecting them and promoting them. I've got a book I'm writing, and Final Edits is coming out on functional feminism, because I think feminism's not been inclusive. I want to get people turned on about it instead of recoil every time they hear it and not want to be, associated with it. And I just want to support women. I want to provide a safe environment for them to be heard. And I want to provide an environment for all those men who go, gosh, I don't understand women. Where are they coming from? I don't understand how they think. Well, here's an opportunity to listen and maybe learn something and reconsider your point of view. So my first law partner is Kimmy Hogan. I'd like to welcome her. And then we're going to go to Carrie Roan, Rose Caswick, and then we're going to talk to our marketing director, Lori Finn, because she has been behind the scenes, instrumental in putting this all together. So let's welcome everybody and start with Kimmy.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dana. I'm Kimmy Hogan. I am an attorney here and partner with Facing Brooks. I've been here for about 8 years. What I do mostly at the firm is represent people who have been hurt in car crashes or at businesses. I am a mom to 2 little boys, a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. So I spend most of my time lately playing Plants vs. Zombies with Harrison, my 4-year-old. And then I try to sneak in time for myself at the yoga studio. But I'm really excited to be here with all of y'all. I loved reading everybody's introductions on the Facebook page. We have such a unique, wonderful group of people here, and I'm excited to engage with you all.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that real quick. I read the stories, and wow. There's a couple of takeaways I got from reading all the people's introductions. Number one, my goodness, are we surrounded by some talent? I couldn't believe some of these stories I heard. We've got some very accomplished women, and I sure don't hear them tooting their own horns very much. Nope. And that's what I was thinking to myself, why are all these women around me and I'm not hearing about them? I sure do hear about, men are not, coy about telling you what they've done and what they can do for you and enlisting your support and their continued, structure in the world. So I want women to do that. I want you all to be proud of yourselves when you do that. The second thing that's a takeaway is I heard some women say, I haven't done all that. I'm not like all those other women. I don't know if I belong in this group. This group is for you, okay? First of all, you're seeing yourselves not like the rest of us do. I can almost guarantee you that. And maybe by listening to some women and maybe sharing some similar stories, you'll see that this is exactly where you need to be and you belong here. And we want to help you reach your potential and reach your goals as well. So I want to welcome everybody. Carrie, let's hear from you.
Hey, I'm one of those people that I read all the intros and I was blown away and I was like, oh, okay, well, I haven't really accomplished very much, so I'm feeling awkward. But no, I've been a lawyer for 21 years and I have 2 boys, they're 15 and 13, and dedicate a lot of time to my children. And I'm an athlete. I still am pretty actively engaged in a lot of sports. I like to do a lot of adventure. I like to travel a lot, very family oriented. and I like to laugh at myself. I like to laugh. I think Dana Brooks is one of the funniest people I've ever met. And yeah, so that's basically it about me and why I thought this group was important to do. I think that people can be themselves. I think women and girls need to understand that you can be yourself, you can be successful, you can be confident in who you are, and that will take you the distance. You don't have to be a bitch, you don't have to be a bully, you don't have to pretend to be a man, you don't have to pretend to be anybody else other than who you are, and you can use all of your attributes and all of your best qualities to be successful in any career. And I've definitely found that in the practice of law. You know, I think we talked in our last meeting that you use more flies to catch, or you use more honey to catch flies than vinegar. And that absolutely translates, at least in the practice of law. People think you have to have a bulldog or a bitch to be a good lawyer. Actually, it's exactly the opposite. And I suspect it's that way in many professions and in many situations. So I just want girls and women to feel empowered that you can be yourself and be successful as a mom, as a daughter, as a wife, as a professional, and in really every aspect of your life.
Love it.
Thank you, Carrie. Okay, Rose, you ready?
So
Let's hear from
ready.
Rose.
Okay, I am Rose Caswick. I am also one of the partners at the firm. I've been a lawyer for almost 7 years, like almost on the dot. This is around the time that, outside of COVID times, lawyers are getting sworn in, new lawyers. But I've been at the firm that whole time. It's very exciting. I am single. I don't have any kids. I plan on staying that way. So I am bringing that perspective that, you know, my fellows don't necessarily share, at least not at this stage in their life. So I'm excited to bring that. And why this group, I'm excited to meet some like-minded folks. I think that social media, you know, is a place where it can be as positive or as negative as you want it to be, but there are a lot of people out there who feel like it's their job to argue, to play devil's advocate, to whatever. And we don't have to do that. Actually, we can support each other in the ways that we're the same and in the ways that we're different. Like, you really don't want a whole world of people exactly like you. You know, there's some fundamental things on which we will always disagree, but that doesn't mean that you can't support one another in the important things.
Yep.
I love that. I love that.
Yep.
Thank you,
Totally.
Rose. And we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna go over the ground rules in a little bit after this, because I want to make sure everybody keeps this place, you know, safe and supportive. And we don't have that many rules, but the ones we have, we keep inviolate. So we'll go over those and make sure everybody feels safe and comfortable and feels like they can be heard and supported here. So Lori, our marketing director, our talent, the brains behind all of this stuff, please let us hear from you and what you hope to get from this group and contribute to it.
Well, nice to see everybody on here. I'm not used to being in front of the camera. I think I do my best work behind the camera and behind the scenes. I love doing that. But this is really fun. And I appreciate the chance to be out here because I too am passionate about all of this as well. I'm a single mom of 3 boys, and I want them to grow up seeing a mom out there doing lots of different things. She's strong, she's working hard, but yet she's taking care of them too. And yeah, so I appreciate this chance. And I love working with these ladies. This has been the most fun, amazing job I've ever had. It's really busy, but I absolutely love it. And I wake up every morning excited to do this. But Dana kind of touched on what was stuck out to me about all the different stories on there. There were so many people saying, I'm not really qualified to be on here. I always feel like that too. And I know Carrie said that too, but I'm like, Carrie, you've been a lawyer for 21 years. But then I'm like, but you know what? We all have our own walks, our own stories, our own struggles. We've all had to fight to get to where we are, and we all deserve a place here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm excited about too. I'm also excited about the diversity of the group and the different walks of life that we bring to this. That's what I think is unique, and I love it.
I love that. Thank you, Lori. Let's just go over a couple of things. First of all, we'd like for you to use the chat feature. If there's something you want to say or contribution you want to make, something you want us to cover, just whatever, just engage with us there if you will, because we're going to try to make sure we take breaks and check on that to make sure we're addressing everybody's concerns. Just a few rules. Part of what prompted me to want to write a book about feminism and reframe it and engage more women is I just got so tired of seeing us get in each other's way. I got so tired of seeing women not vote for their own team. You know, I've got 3 degrees from Florida State. That'd be like me coming out and doing a Gator thing. That's just ridiculous. That would be disloyal. It'd be ridiculous. But women will go off their team pretty easily. And I'm like, why is that? And I thought, well, you know, if my team wasn't winning, I wouldn't abandon it. I'd get a new coach. I'd get some new talent. I'd get some new ideas. I'd get some outside input. I'd regroup. I'd find out where my problems were, but I wouldn't leave my team. I'd make it better. And that's what I would want women to do. I feel like we suffer from a collective low gender self-esteem. A lot of us just feel like we lost the gender birth lotto and we're just, you know, kind of second class citizen support staff type, you know, people in humanity. And I want to change that. But I realize we can't change it if there's a, you know, one size for everybody. That's why this forum needs to be a positive forum. This is not where you should come to share a viewpoint and feel like you're going to get challenged and have to defend it. What I ask people to do, if you don't agree with something, let it go. You don't have to comment on everything, but let's not try to poo all over each other when we share things. This is not a place to sell people. Although I want to promote women businesses and people who are sympathetic and want to support women businesses. So we're going to have a forum where you can just go if you're ready to buy a car, get some landscaping done, get a, you know, an extension built on your house, or hire a financial advisor, get your nails done, whatever. You want to go to somebody in our group or a women-owned business or someone who supports them. We'll have a forum for that. But we don't want to use this, you know, page as a way for people to feel hit on and being sold to. This is not a place to talk about politics. It's going to show up. But the main thing is, you know, not every woman is, you know, a bra burning, man hating liberal. That's not what this is about. There's no right or wrong way to be a woman, and we shouldn't shame women's choices here. So again, if you see something, we don't want to proselytize, we don't want to be political, and we don't want to preach to people, but you should be able to say, hey, has anybody struggled with that? I'm feeling this way, and feel heard and supported. I don't want someone to just look at this as a place to be contrary. That, I don't know. I mean, raise your hand or comment on the chat if you don't feel like you have enough opportunities to be challenged in your life. Or any women looking for some challenges, because this is not your forum. This is where you should come to be supported. Okay. Not every woman is, you know, women are conservative. Some don't pursue a career outside the home. Everybody should feel okay in their choices and emboldened and you know, supported by them. And so I'm hoping we can do that here. Now, on to very important things, cocktails. Every week we're going to have a signature mocktail cocktail because we want to be cognizant and concerned about people who struggle with sobriety. That's important. But that doesn't mean you can't have a lovely fruity drink or something refreshing. And so we've assigned that to Rose. Rose has got a book. Rose, you want to just tell us really quickly about how that's going to go? Right now it's wine or whatever your choice is. That's what mine is. But Rose, go take it away.
Yeah, so we are going to do, this is an EmPower hour. It's like a happy hour. We're going to do a cocktail. I happen to see this book, which is Free the Tipple, Kick-Ass Cocktails Inspired by Iconic Women. So we're going to go through this and pick one out every week and see if we can adapt it as a mocktail and get all the ingredients. So we'll all be drinking that, and we'll try and get you all on board too. But, you know, there's in here inspired by obviously Frida Kahlo is on the cover. There's Gloria Steinem in here. There's Joan Didion. There's Carmen Miranda, all kinds of powerful women in different ways. So that's hopefully something that we can highlight.
I love that. Rose is very erudite. Rose brings the intellect.
I have a book. It's full of recipes.
She's just super cool. I mean, let's face it, Rose is just cool.
Yeah. She's also scary. She would be Scary Spice. So we had Scary Spice, Posh Spice, Sporty Spice. We've got a lot of spice.
I'm definitely Scary Spice.
I want to pivot real quick and talk about this white picture, y'all. Yeah. Does everybody, okay, everybody saw our white, we're all wearing white. We got a white background. And my vision for that is it's 100-year, you know, anniversary of women's, you know, right to vote, women's suffrage. And the suffragettes wore white. and you would notice a lot of times if you paid any attention to, sometimes Hillary Clinton's wardrobe choices were informed by that. When I was doing trials, I would always start in a white. I'd pick a jury in a white suit, and I wear a white suit because it just kind of is like a little coat of armor for me. It's like a little uniform. So we were looking at the pictures, and we hired Kyra to do them as she does all of our pictures, and she's just so good.
Yeah.
And we were like, I don't really look like that. But thank you, Kyra. So I had some concerns about them. Okay. And so because you'll notice they're not up on billboards. They're only being used in our women's group. So I thought we would go around and we would talk about that, if for no other reason, to just share the angst we have over things like what we look like, what our clothes are, what will people think. So I want to start with Carrie, because she's got a sassy picture. Carrie brings it. So what do you think about it, Carrie?
We had such a good debate about this because we put a lot of work and a lot of effort into looking good for the picture. We got our hair did, we got our makeup done, we all bought new white suits. We hired Kira Derryberry, who was amazing. And we had this beautiful picture and we put it up on the TV and we're like, yeah, this is the picture we're going to use for the group. And then we were in a mixed group of people, right? So some of the comments were like, it's too white, it's too pretty, we look like glamazons, we don't look smart, we need to look like lawyers. And we're all like going around and around and around. And it's like, wait a second.
We tormented ourselves over that.
We should apologize for the way that we look. Like, I'm sorry that I'm white. I'm sorry that I tried to look good for this picture. I'm sorry I don't look like the nerd that I really am. And like, we're gonna offend people. We're gonna turn people off. We're gonna turn people on. We look too sexy. And it's like, oh my God, men don't have to go through this. Like, why are we torturing ourselves over this picture? Let's just put it up and let's just use it and see what happens. This is who we are, and we shouldn't be apologetic for it. I don't think.
I agree. My thought was, and here's the thing, is I'm very aware of this because I came from nothing. I had no money. I had a very, just no resources at all as a child. I didn't come from any sort of money or anything. And so I'm always very cognizant of, people going, well, yeah, anybody can look great if they can afford to get their lips plumped up and Botox and get their hair, bleached out every, however much, and wear braces and, get spray tans or whatever it is. And so to me, I was concerned that I was flaunting, my success, and I would make another woman feel less than because she didn't have the resources that I had. That's why I never lie about my age. I am 52 and it takes a village. So I don't ever lie. I would hate for somebody to go, oh, I just need to watch what I eat. No, there's a lot of money, pain, I'm going to talk about this because one of my topics I want to talk about, and I want to get everybody's thoughts on what they want to talk about, like physical fitness. I am not a fan of exercising. I am not Carrie Roan, okay? But I have to do it because I'm in my 50s. So it's just one of those things. I just wouldn't want someone to look at that picture with everything looking so perfect and go, oh, life's just easier for some people. No, I'm the product of the choices I make, just like everybody else is the product of the choices they make. I've just been very lucky that some of the calculated risk I took really paid off. Rose, what did you think? Because here's the thing. I wanted everybody to wear white. That was kind of my little thing because I wanted to be a suffragette commemoration type of thing. But we don't all have the same dress, personality. We don't all have the same taste in clothes. We don't all spend our time the same way. Rose, what did you think about that white picture?
I love getting my picture taken. It's my favorite part of the job. Getting my makeup done, getting my hair done. I thrive under those circumstances. So when we decided to do this white picture, I think it's a great idea because it stands out, but I don't have white clothes. Like, I had to go buy something and I had to order stuff online, and I got like 6 different outfits in, and I wore the only one that was passable in any way, shape, or form. So that, I'm not one who likes to be perceived. I don't exist. Don't look at me. I don't have a physical form. That's how I would prefer it. But it's part of the job. So I like doing those powerful photo shoots. I like the way they look when they come out. I definitely want to be included on those things. But it's like we did our regular billboard, which was all of us plus all the male partners. We're wearing dark colors, you know, we're wearing suits, dark, black and blue, everybody's in. And when we first put that picture up, the comments we got were, oh, look at all those women with their long hair and their legs out. And it's like, we just look like people. We're not like doing a sexy picture. We're just women standing here in a suit, you know? So I think you're going to get that reaction to some extent, no matter what. My level of uncomfortability with the white photo was more about sort of the history of the suffragettes, that we are all white women, and it was a very white movement to the exclusion frequently of the civil rights movement for Black people. And that was because, you know, a lot of the white suffragettes prioritized votes for women, like, we'll get our votes for women. This is our thing. This is our issue. If we start talking about other issues, we'll never get anything done. And I understand why they did that. But I think it's great that now we can take up that mantle and say, yes, but we have, you know, we can make room at the table now for everyone. Whether the suffragettes of 100 years ago could or wanted to or whatever, we can. So that excites me about it.
I love that. And that is part of motivation that I'm talking about in the book, and talk about, we're on our 4th wave of feminism right now. I imagine most of you do not keep up with it enough to even know which waves, but where we went wrong was in the 2nd, in my opinion, because that's when we started dicing it up. You know, you had to be a man-hating, bra-burning, you know, career first, you know, don't marry, don't take a married man's name. You had to be that kind of feminist to be a part of the movement. And they were dicing each other up. But hey, divide and conquer has been a very successful war strategy from the beginning of time. When someone's trying to dice you up and compartmentalize you, they're trying to control you. So to me, I want us to be more inclusive. You know, I don't need to pit my movement against, well, you know, Black people are struggling. Well, women are struggling. Well, LGBTQ, you know, they're struggling.
It's not a competition.
No, it's not a pie. They'll make more oppression if you take your slice out of it. Don't worry about it. No, I want us to be more inclusive. You know, I like that. But, you know, we all wore different clothes for that white picture. Like, I distinctively decided I did not want to wear a suit, because to me, a suit is an external expectation for my behavior in a legal field as a lawyer. And so I don't accept that. I decide what I wear based on who I am, not the career I've chosen. Rose, you chose a very lovely, very feminine, I thought, dress. And Kimmy, what did you think? What informed your decision? You chose a very elegant dress, not a power suit at all.
Oh, thank you. And Rose, gosh, I love what you said. I just wanted to wear something that made me feel good, that I felt comfortable in. And I'm pretty laid back about this stuff. So I was like, I'm taking a picture, I'm wearing white. I'm going to go to Dillard's the night before and find the best dress that I like. That's what I did. So, you know, but I really loved the idea, Dana, of doing the picture and having the white outfit and the white background, because to me, it symbolizes, you know, we're celebrating that we got the right to vote 100 years ago, but also it's a statement that there's more room for us, or there's further for us to go still. You know, women are not represented at all levels of power equally. And so I just thought it was awesome for us, 4 female partners of the law firm, which, like you said, Dana, is unheard of, to be standing up, looking, saying, this is how far we've come and we're still moving forward.
Exactly.
Well, this is the important part of it. We didn't have that angst over that photograph just because we're women. We had angst over that photograph because we were using it as owners of a law firm as a business. Mm-hmm. You know, Lori, you were in on that, and Gary Jordan, I think, was there too, and Jimmy Fasig, our male law partner, was in on it. You know, we have to watch everything we do. You know, is this going to offend somebody? Is this going to make somebody go call those, you know, 4 angry white guys at that other law firm? I'm not a male basher, but I am going to make jokes. Okay, just accept that. That's me. But you know what I mean? We weren't just thinking about it as women and how other women would feel. We have to also, another layer, because we are the exceptional people who are female business owners. We have to look at everything under that whole, you know, veil of, is this going to offend people who need our help? Are they not going to call us? What, did you give that any thought, Carrie?
Yeah, can I say something about that? I think that
100%.
I'm glad you threw it over to me because I am extremely proud of the fact that I work at a law firm and that I'm a partner in a law firm with all these other women. And I don't ever want to apologize about it. And I want to blast it out there as much as I possibly can because I drive a lot through the state and all I see are men on billboards in these law firms. That's all I see all over the place. And I've been at several other law firms before I came to this law firm, and there are very, very few women that stay in law practice. There are very few women that litigate, and there are very few women that become partners in law firms. And I'm so proud of that. And I want everybody to see it. And I don't want to have to apologize for being a woman. And I'm sorry that we're women on this billboard. I'm just so proud of us. But I want to say a couple other things. I want to tell you why I chose a suit. Because Dana, I'm very much like you, and I don't wear pantyhose to court. I never have. I will never let anybody dictate what I wear as a professional. But I chose a suit because I have a mom belly, and my jacket and my pants hid my little mom belly. And that's one of the reasons I didn't look for a dress like you and Kimmy and Rose had, because it didn't look very flattering on me. So I'm still like super worried about all that stuff, even though, you know, it wound up looking great because of Kira positioning us in certain ways. But, you know, the other thing is that I think what we need to all learn from this is that we shouldn't judge each other based on how we look. In my mind, and all my partners and Lori and Missy, like a bunch of my friends know this about me, I'm a 13-year-old girl in my mind. I am lanky and gawky, and I look like a grasshopper with these long arms and long legs. And Rose mentioned long hair. I've got long hair because I hide behind it. So like, let's never judge somebody for the way they look, good or bad, because everybody's hiding something and everybody feels differently about themselves, even though they might look differently. So that's just that couple of things I wanted to add about the picture.
You know, I deeply believe the beauty is in the flaws. You know, somebody used this analogy last night at dinner. If Jimmy Facey was on here, he'll remember it. Now, Beatrice, if she's on there, she'll remember. This man was talking about how he happened to be in the presence of these NBA superstars one time in Los Angeles, and he saw Kobe Bryant. He walked out and he got into a like a midnight blue Phantom, you know, Rolls Royce. And then he saw, now this is where you can see I don't know anything about sports. I don't have a deep interest in it. But anyway, some other big deal basketball player came out and he gets into the same Rolls Royce, just a different color. And it occurred to this man that, you know, well, that's not exceptional anymore, is it? It's common. So, you know, when something is perfect, when something is flawless, when something is, it becomes common. You know, the beauty is in the flaws. A unique thing is in what makes you different. So if everybody's like you, then how are you going to have value? Your inherent value is specifically in what makes you unique. So I love that. I will tell you about this, about the photograph. I wasn't happy with how I looked in the pictures, and the photograph that's out now, that's all over the place. I'm in this black dress. Well, Kira slimmed me down a little bit in that. Okay. she's a magician, and she could have done it in this white dress that I wore for this, but you know, I'm 52. I struggle with menopause. You know, some days are harder, you know, some months are harder, and I could have had her slim me down. You know, I could have done that. I could have had her do that, but I was like, you know, how much of this, you know, at some point you just go, enough, enough. Okay. I'm 52. This is, I mean, I eat sometimes. I mean, this is how I look. So I found it ultimately to be empowering. But you know, anything you have to explain, I guess, kind of gets watered down. All right, let's go on to some other topics. I wanted to thank, first of all, Tim Mosley. He gave us a really nice chat. Let me see who else is on here. Jennifer Fortberry, she said, I love that y'all are talking about that photo. I'm getting ready to participate in a 30/30 photo shoot to help step out of my comfort zone. You should do it. You should do it. I'm actually going to do this. I met this woman. I went to this women's retreat in Belize earlier this year. I found these phenomenal women from all over the country. And one of them is a professional photographer in Los Angeles. And she's going to photograph me for the book jacket. But I've always wanted to do nudes, not where you see, you know, anything like, not pornography, but nudes, just tasteful nudes, you know, when I felt like my best self. And I thought, I'm going to do that. I'll probably never show them to anybody. It's just something I want to do. So what, you know, so what? So step outside of your comfort zone, even if you're the only person who ever sees the picture. If it makes you feel great and empowered and makes you love your body, I mean, what's the harm in that? You know, there's too much shame, and there's too much of it that is directed at women for the sole purpose of keeping you in your lane. Because when you step out of it, you make people uncomfortable. I really hope everybody understands it is not your job. When you were identified as female, when you were born, nobody put a job on you to make everybody else comfortable with you. That is not your obligation in the world. But so many women take it as that. All right, I would like to pitch it to my law partners and my friend and marketing director, Lori. Let's start with you. What kind of topics would you like to talk about? Because today is kind of just an orientation. This is the group. This is what we're into. This is where we're coming from. There's a lot of things that we pitched around, and I ask you all to think about because we're all in unique developmental stages. You know, Kimmy, for instance, she's married and she has very small children. You know, I am single and I have a 26-year-old adult child who doesn't live in my home anymore. That's a very different developmental stages for all of us. So I want to start with Lori and just say, what were your topics when you consider the unique position you're in right now?
Well, some of the things that really came to mind for me is everything that I'm going through right now. I'm in my 40s and I'm single again. Dating, and I've got 3 boys that I'm trying to raise. I'm trying to have a good co-parenting relationship with my ex-husband, and it's going really well right now, but it has its moments, you know, and most people I talk to don't have that experience. It's very tenuous and that. So ways to help with that, because kids are the most important thing in my life, keeping that together, really, really important to me. Also, I've always been an athlete, a runner, and been very fit. And now I'm in my 40s and I'm not any of those. And my mom always said, as soon as you hit 40, it all just goes. And I was like, no, it doesn't. And all of a sudden I am struggling big time. So it's almost like an identity crisis for me, because that's what I've always been. And so I need strength from you ladies to just help me accept who I am now, and talk with other ladies that are in these positions too. And so that's what I'm looking forward to, is I want to see us come together and building each other up.
Yeah, you know, I talk about this. I don't know if you've seen me, a lot of y'all have seen me speak at these different speaking engagements. I'll talk to women, but a lot of times what I will try to help them do is learn how to include other people. And there's a very important reason for it. Your younger women need to be included because they don't know how to go into a group of a bunch of people who've been practicing or been working at this level, or that are older. They don't know how to, you know, get involved in a conversation. So you need to, if you hold the conversation, if people are listening to you, paying attention to you, you need to reach back and you bring in some of these people. But I want you to remember to do that to people who are older and who are starting to get disregarded. There's a lot of things that happen as you get older. It's not just your physical changes in your body. You'll notice people just don't want to hear what you have to say. People don't make eye contact with you and include you in a group and encourage your participation. So first of all, it's just good manners. And if you're Southern, you know how important that is. But if you have the power in a conversation or in a room and you see somebody just kind of sitting in the corner, not contributing, reach over to them and say, you know, hold on just a second, Frank, or whoever's, you know, leading the discussion, say, you know, Stephanie's got a lot to say on this. She's done some research on that, or this is a special interest for her. You're going to want to hear from her. And then you engage Stephanie. So I want us all to be very mindful of that, because you feel it. It's perceptible when you're in a room and you could feel somebody being diminished or left out. So when you have the opportunity, bring those people in, if you will. Let's go now to Rose. What are you thinking about other topics of conversation? What do you want to have covered? And you might want to orient everybody to your unique developmental cycle.
Sure.
Let's talk about cycles, ladies.
Yeah, this is a real women's group now. And one of the thing I sort of pitched my voice on the group as would be to talk about media in some ways. Like, I love movies. Like people say I like to go to the movies or whatever. I love movies. Everything about how they're made, you know, the process behind them, the people involved, from, you know, the effects to the accountants to the whatever. So in that sense, because I'm tuned into that world, I see a lot of how things are made. The people that are involved, that they are not women for the most part. And so I want to talk about both things that are made by women, movies, TV, books, podcasts, things that have a woman's voice. Because if you'll notice when you're watching stuff, it is very rare to hear a woman's voice. Like watch a TV show that actually has a woman's voice, to the point where when you watch something that was like written, created, directed by a woman, you're like, that was my brain on the TV, and that's not what I normally see. So I want to promote those things, and then also talk about how women are perceived in media. On a more personal note, I am single. I do not have children. I do not, like I said, do not plan on changing either of those things. But again, the older that I get, the more like I don't have anyone pushing back on me specifically about that. Like my family and friends, like they're not like, oh, when are you getting married? I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not buying in. But strangers are like, oh, are you married? Oh, do you have kids? And that's just normal part of conversation. And now, I'm just like, no. And that shuts down that whole, like, they're trying to connect with me, and I need to figure out ways to connect with people who are in a different life stage than I am, and who have different priorities than me in some ways. I'm like, yeah, I'd love to chat about schools or my husband's job or whatever, but it's just me. I have a cat. I love TV and movies. So I want to talk about some of that stuff. I want to, this has already been touched on a little bit, talk about body positivity. I'm fat. Like I don't see that as a moral failing, and that's a hard thing to do, is to divorce your choices in eating and activity and those things from virtue. Like you're not less than because you chose to eat a hamburger today. Like that's just food, that's fuel, that's whatever. You get pleasure from it, you don't, whatever. So I want to talk about those types of things. And then mental health also, which is something that a lot of us struggle with, run of the mill anxiety and depression. Obviously there's more serious types of mental disorders that I do not feel qualified to talk about, but definitely struggle with anxiety. And I think women especially have unique stressors that create those things in women, just society and being, told that you're less than, or implicitly told that you're less than in many ways. The messages you get from the media, both popular media, models, actresses, whatever, and the news with stuff like, abortion rights and those types of things, that you can't make decisions for yourself. You're a woman. Imposter syndrome that a lot of women deal with. So those things all, I think, feed into topics that we can talk about related to to this group, and a lot of things that we can get into on that.
I love that, Rose. You think about, well, what all can you say about, positive body image and healthy relationships to food? Well, one of the topics I wanted to talk about was health, physical health. And like I said, I make fun of, oh, I hate to exercise, but I don't. I just, it's not how I would spend my time if I could, lay around doing something else. That's just all there is to it. But I do it because I need to do it. But, I haven't had a very healthy relationship with food, and it goes way back to my childhood. I was always told that, my value as a woman was to be attractive. That was the real thing. I mean, my dad would call and say, are your feet still small? Please tell me you're still beautiful, And so when you hear that from very important people, be very careful the messaging you give children, by the way, because they listen to you. It may be something you say one time and they internalize it the rest of their lives. So I've always been just ridiculous about my weight, to a point of very unhealthiness, to the point of, I think that's honestly why I got myself 2 cardiac ablations earlier this year. Because if I ever got to the point where I wasn't where I wanted to be, I'd go on diet pills. I'd find some hack doctor, give them to me. They always would. And what I end up with at 50, I have a, electrical heart problem. So it's not funny, says the funny girl. It's not funny, whenever you have an unhealthy relationship with food and an unhealthy body image. It could shorten your life. it could really diminish the quality of it. So I think we do need to talk about, because it's not fitness, it's not body, it's health. Excuse me, it's health. That's what we need to be mindful of. We need to promote good health, certainly mental health. Let me go now to, let's go to Carrie. Carrie, what are you looking for topics, and what are you hoping to get out of this?
Oh my gosh, so much. Like, we are balancing so freaking many things. I mean, especially right now in COVID, we've got kids at home. I've got elderly parents that I'm trying to take care of. And
You're sandwich generation. Yeah, tell them who you are.
What's that?
So you're the sandwich generation for sure.
Yeah, so my
you're
parents
helping
are
your
the
parents, they're
80s.
helping you. Kind of orient people, if you don't mind, to your unique developmental phase.
So my parents are, I've got 3 older brothers, but they don't live here in Tallahassee. So I've got my parents here. They just moved here and they're in their early 80s. So I help take care of my parents. My parents also help take care of my kids as far as running them all around town to their activities. And it's like all of us are interlocked together. So, I've been working at home because I can't really expose my parents to COVID because of their age and because they're helping with my kids. If I'm working in the office, then my parents can't help me with the kids and then everything falls apart. But like, I want to talk about time management. How are we keeping 25 balls in the air at the same time with respect to paying attention to our mental health, to our physical health, to our eating, to the way, we're maintaining our jobs, to the way we're maintaining relationships with our partners, our husbands, our family members, our children, everybody. We've got so much on our plate that we're worrying about. I want to talk about time management. I want to talk about stupid things like, what should I wear for a job interview? I want people to know that we're a good resource for that, and that you don't have to look a certain way, that you can look like yourself. I want to talk about things that are funny, that are unique to women, and that are unique to women that are juggling a million things. I want to talk about what it's like to be a woman, to travel by yourself. I travel by myself all the time, or traveling with friends, or traveling with family. I want to talk about something that's a little bit deeper, is how women shouldn't tear each other down. I mentioned earlier that I've been in several firms before, and I've had some very unique experiences where women have torn me down. And all that does is make you more insecure, make you feel like you're never going to amount to anything, and make you feel like, basically just crap, like your voice shouldn't be heard. And as women, we need to lift each other up, because we are all stronger people when we're lifted up and we feel like somebody's supporting us. We all thrive in that, as opposed to tearing each other down for any amount, any reason. If we tear each other down, we just wind up just annihilating ourselves and each other. It's just not a good place. So, I want to do a lot of lighthearted stuff. I want everybody to be able to laugh. I want to laugh at each other, at ourselves. And then I also want to delve into the deeper things like, time management and what it really means to support each other. I was in a situation at a firm maybe 12, 13 years ago where I had somebody at the firm that I thought was my friend, and we would commiserate about things that were bad at our job. And she would go behind my back and tell people about that. And she was encouraging me to leave the job because of those things that were bad. And then in the meantime, she was going behind my back and trying to take my position. So, that's not a very healthy situation, and that's not a good situation. And that happens all the time. Most of us work in male dominated industries. So we've got those issues to deal with, where you've got somebody interrupting you at the conference table all the time, or a man explaining to you how things should be done when you got it and you don't need the explanation. You don't need the interruption. You don't need the guy at the conference room table stealing your idea because it was your idea. And then we've got women that are not being supportive of us. And that's a unique problem that we have to face too. So I kind of want to talk about a lot of things, I guess, a lot of funny things, a lot of lighthearted things, and then a lot of deep stuff too.
Those are all great things. And let's talk for just a second about women supporting other women. I would like for you to take a couple of pledges. I'll ask you this across the journey that we're on, but today the pledge is just this. If you can't support a woman, just please stay out of it. Just please don't hurt her.
Yeah.
Okay. Please just don't hurt her. It's not that hard, and then you got to think about whenever you are about to contemplate doing something, restrict it to the substantive disagreements that the two of you have. No mean girl stuff, you know, never about her weight, what she wears, what her hair looks like. I can't believe she wore that. You know, no, I can't believe she dated him. No, that's mean girl stuff. We're better than that. That doesn't mean you support a woman's position or her argument 100%, because we have different positions and different arguments, but you restrict the criticism to the rhetoric, and you never make it hominem attacks ever. And then remember this, prejudice exists in this world. I don't think anybody believes it doesn't. So all of the isms, whether it's racism, sexism, whatever ism it is, it's about your association, your membership in a group. So just remember that when you contribute to the putting down and the lower status of women, you're hurting yourself, because you're in that group, whether you like it or not, most times. If you've chosen to identify, you've chosen to be in this group. And so when you hurt the other members of it, you're hurting yourself, because outsiders judge us all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, by our membership. So you're not being very smart. You're not helping yourself there. Let's talk to Kimmy. What are you thinking about? What kind of topics?
So I'll give you kind of my life phase that I'm in. I'm 34. The last 10 years of my life have been focused on law school, and then being a new lawyer, and then having kids. And so it's just been go, 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 go with school, and then work and children. And so I feel like in the last 10 years, I haven't had a moment to sit back and go, what other interests do I have? What other hobbies do I have? I haven't spent a lot of time developing relationships outside of work and my family, because I feel like every moment needs to be either at work or with kids. And I'm just now getting to that space. My youngest is 1.5 years, where I feel like I have maybe not the time, but the motivation. And my husband helps with this to try to force me to get out there and develop other interests, because it's so stress relieving. So anyways, I'm very interested in learning about all of y'all's interests and hobbies. I think there's so much that I can learn from you all, and we can learn from each other. My interests right now are yoga, and I'm about to start bonsaiing plants. So I'll share that with you. But you know, I'm excited about all the topics that have been shared today, but for me, really, it's finding the balance and finding time to develop myself is where I am.
Ooh,
Oh, we
Dana,
can't hear you, Dana.
Mute.
I love that. And I love the idea of the bonsai. And you think, why is that? Why would someone take that up? You know, if your whole energy is frenetic, if everything's going, you know, 100 miles an hour all the time, just think about the joy of the tediousness. And also think of this. I want to give a shout out to Judge Lane Smith, one of my good friends. I worked with him many years ago when I was first here. He had a bonsai plant, and unlike most everything else he attempted in his life, he failed at it. So he went in one day with a can of green spray paint and just whipped that sucker right back into shape, because you notice they have that crazy color. So he's like, I am winning at bonsaiing. No, that's a man. They're not patient. We're much more, we're much better at playing a long game. So I think good things are going to be in Kimmy's future for her bonsai plant. Let me talk about a couple of things that I wanted to, did I get to everybody on what you want to talk about?
Yeah, you got us.
Okay. All of our panelists today. And if you all, first of all, we're going to have some polls. If I were adept at this Zoom thing, you'd be having one today, but I could not pull that off. I'm doing it as good as I can. But we want to poll you on what kind of things you want to talk about, what kind of topics you want to hear, because we want it to be interesting and lively. So we want that feedback from you.
Dana.
We're going to also,
Oops.
yeah, topics. So let me tell you about a couple of them I wanted to talk about that we haven't gotten to. The physical fitness, the menopause and midlife issues. You know, we're all at different phases. That's why I love our group of people, because we're all at different developmental stages. And we have people in the group, in the EmPower Plant group, we know we can call on who can share some things. You know, everything's a little bit different. And you need to be mindful of that and how it's going to work. I want to talk about, Lori touched on it, co-parenting, you know, that sort of thing. I want to talk about divorce. at different phases. I want to talk about, dating, midlife issues, whether, marriage is the right forum or the right platform, for you across the whole life spectrum. Maybe it's not. I just think that's a good topic for us all to get in, open up and share our feelings on. Dating in your elderly years. That's very fun. I can share a lot on that. Networking, career development, always. I think everybody needs that. And then also for me, parenting adult children. A lot of people, Lori and Carrie have children in their home in middle and high school years. Kimmy's just coming up. Rose opted out.
I am being parented as an adult child against my will.
Feline parenting, and that's a challenge in and of itself because that's not the warmest environment to come home to. It's not like a little dog, I don't know. But anyway, I just thought we could talk about those sorts of different things. So I appreciate that, but we do want to get everybody's input. Give us a chat. Hold your hand up whenever you want to talk about it. We need to talk about, like we said, the sandwich generation, the people who are, dealing with these kids at home, and then they've got parents. Maybe they've got a parent with, dementia and another parent that's going to be left behind when this happens, and you're responsible for all of it. That's the generation, that I'm in. That's our struggle. So there's a lot of it going on. I would like to encourage everybody to invite people to our group. The bigger the group, the more input we have, the more voices that can be heard, the greater good we can do. So we hope you'll do that. Let me do this. I want to start now and ask you all, what resources do you call on in your life that help you with some of these things we struggle with? I want to start with you, Rose. I know you're big into media, so you're into podcasts, TED Talks, all that intellectual stuff that I'm dipping my toes into. I want to get better at. But what resources do you have that encourage you that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, well, for me, I actually don't consume a lot of things that are self-help or motivational. I find that I get overwhelmed by it. I'm like, I don't need to be constantly encouraged. If I'm being encouraged, I'm thinking about the things I need to be encouraged about and the ways I'm failing at them. So when I seek
it can
out
be a treadmill when you do that.
Yes, I'm like, girl, wash your face. I don't want to. Leave me alone. But I seek out stuff that is made by creators that I trust or think I can trust. Somebody who's not about to get canceled for a bad opinion. Women creators, things that are distracting. I tried to think of some examples to give, like TV shows. There's Dairy Girls on Netflix. There's Dickinson that was on Apple TV. Those are both, women-centered shows or young women-centered shows that give a unique perspective, a different, type of person or woman or time period than I'm familiar with, but that I can fall into. And I'm like, this is great. I don't feel like I'm about to get hit with something that I don't want to hear. Podcasts, I mostly listen to podcasts for, again, fun and entertainment and comedy, not to get into anything super deep. I like the Judge John Hodgman podcast. It adjudicates people's interpersonal issues, not really an advice show, like two people who have a conflict with each other, and in a comedic way, he'll give them advice and adjudicate the issue. There was another one that I was going to say, but I don't remember what it is. But yeah, that kind of stuff. The one thing that I have found.
Yeah, post those on the EmPower plant whenever you think of
Sure.
them. I encourage everybody to do that. But Rose is the one, she's the go-to on that stuff.
Yeah.
One thing I do cheesily find inspiring is the song Wait For It from Hamilton. That is my anthem. I am such an Aaron Burr. I hate myself for it, but I'll post about that too. That's
awesome. Lori, what are your go-to resources to keep you motivated and feeling good?
Well, I like to get to know as many people as I can. I like having open conversations with people. I do a lot of reading in different areas, but I find as I get more and more into being comfortable with myself and everything, I'm learning to really kind of listen to other people, but then also turn inward into myself and learn what my instincts are telling me about things. that's something that's taken me a long time to get familiar with, is being comfortable with my own instincts. My mom has been amazing, but she and I have very different views on a lot of different things. And I used to just push that all away. And now I find value in just talking to a lot of different people, getting their perspectives on everything. We don't have to agree on everything, but I see value in everything. So for me, it's reaching out to people and finding people that I can have really, really open conversations with, and us really being okay with not seeing eye to eye, but finding something in common and value in that. So to me, it's people.
That's such good leadership. If other people can see you doing that, they can do it. And it's so hard right now because we're in the political season, and it has never been harder to, be open-minded and to try to see where this person who seems so strident and just so, opposing to everything you hold dear and consider meaningful and valuable. It's very hard to give them the benefit of a doubt. So, I would like to, I would look to you for leadership on that, because that's hard. I try to do it, and preaching it is one thing, doing it's another thing. So I really applaud you for doing that. Let's go to Carrie. Carrie, what do you go to? What are your resources you trust?
So my big thing, I think it's not a secret, is exercise and playing sports. That's my big solace, and that's what it's almost like meditation for me. I'm 45 years old and I'm still playing soccer. So anything that I can do to get my adrenaline going and get me sweating is really my solace. I wish I was patient and I could do bonsai, because I think that's super cool. I love movies like Rose does, and I love reading, but I really, really, really like to be outside, and that's my big thing. I think the endorphins give me confidence. They make me feel like I can express my voice. It really does a world of good for me, just playing sports and being physically fit. So I guess that's why you gave me the name Sporty Spice.
I did. We just have a few minutes left. I want to hear next from Kimmy on her resources, and then I want to acknowledge a little bit of chat and encourage you all to invite people to the EmPower Plant by Facing Brooks, and of course the EmPower Hour Facing Brooks brings to you every Thursday at 6 p.m. But Kimmy, let's hear from you first. At your unique developmental stage and what you're struggling with, what helps you stay calm and keep it together?
Oh man, yoga, and then just talking to my friends.
Female
Short,
friendships.
sweet.
Female friendships, that's something that we could have a whole discussion on. We could have a whole discussion on how important it is to make a priority of your female friends and friendships. So let me look at some chat real quick before we close up for the week. I appreciate everybody. This has gone really well. All the people in my office have made crazy about it. So yay. Let's see. I love this. Whenever Rose was talking, she got a lot of accolades. You are beautiful. You do you. You got a lot of support on that. I don't want no husband. I don't want no kids front. So good for you.
She's the smartest of us all.
I love me some Rose.
I love my children, but the people who don't have them, I'm not saying anything to you either. You do you. Yeah, we've got a viewer. She's like, yeah, Carrie, time management is drowning us while distance learning. She's working full time. Her husband works 4 10-hour days. She said, #stressed.
Yeah.
That's Marlene Bruner. Yeah, no, everybody's feeling it. Jeanette and Jimmy Fasig, oh, they're awesome. They support us in everything we do. They just said, this is awesome. Balance and self-care is definitely a constant focus for them. Jeanette said she'd like to hear more about everybody's perspective on that. The balance. And, I want to talk about this. We'll talk about substance. If you look at the wine use among moms and women, that's through the roof. We all laugh about it. We all go on Facebook and we joke about our wine drinking, but let me tell you, that's a real thing. And so we need to watch that. It's part of the health component, I think, that we can all talk about, but we need to be honest about that. So yeah, there's a lot of balance, because sometimes you feel overwhelmed and drowning and you just want to just not feel as much of it. So we got to watch that. Balance and goal setting. Yeah, I'm very excited to see all the good comments. So this has been a great first meeting. I just want to send it to each one of you for a little bit of a wrap up. I want to say thanks, and then let me turn it back to Carrie.
Me?
Yeah, just wind up, just whatever you want to say to close our hour.
I'm just super excited about this. And I love the fact that I got to know more about my friends and my partners just through this hour meeting. And I'm just really excited to have a good support system behind me. And so we can be honest and we can just love and care for each other.
I love it. Lori, what are your final thoughts?
I just feel like I'm on cloud nine right now. Just the support and everything we're talking about. I can relate to all of this so much. There's so many groups out there that I love, and it's for working moms and this and that. But I feel like in this group, I get to just be myself. But then I get to see examples of so many different walks of life, and that excites me. So thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. And I hope to do that. I hope whenever we do give advice or give something helpful, we can model it, so you can take it back. It's not just theoretical that we're talking about. Kimmy, what about you? What are your final thoughts today?
Oh, I love it. And I'm excited, especially to be talking about different life phases, because when else do I get to have an open conversation with other women about what I'm going to be experiencing over the next, hopefully many, many years of my life? But nobody ever talks about it like that. So I'm pumped and I'm thrilled. And I want to give a shout out to Sandra Elise, because your nods and smiles have been keeping me going. You make me feel so good when we're talking. So I appreciate it.
That's my Belize buddy. She's one of my girlfriends.
Cool.
My international travelers. Hey, welcome. All right, Rose, what are your final thoughts?
I'm also excited about this. I know the people who are on this Zoom or watching this, and this is their first experience with me, probably don't know it, but I am the quiet one. I don't like to share about myself. So I've probably told my female law partners who I've known for 7 years more tonight than I have.
That is a fact.
7 years. So I'm excited for that spirit of openness, and I've learned things about them as well that, I think we are all going to get closer because of this, and hopefully make some new friends and some new connections as well. So that's exciting.
That's wonderful. I personally am glad I got to know Rose tonight. We worked together 7 years, and so I'm glad to have a glimpse into her soul. No, thank you all for coming. I've enjoyed this, and I look forward to doing it every Thursday at 6. We'll have a Zoom link. Let us know your thoughts. Raise your hand if you want to be heard from. Chat us up. Answer the polls and give us your feedback. But this is your forum. This is about you. This is about supporting you and loving you. So good night.
Good night.
Good
Good night, everyone.
night.